I want this audience to know that there's a famous joke that you pull on us. You remember when I was in DC, I had long dreadlocks when I'm in DC, and then I was driving. Dr. Edgar gave, I got to Howard 2003, August. So I flew out of, it was not OR Tambo. Yeah, I flew on the 23rd of August and I landed in America, in DC, on the 24th of August, which is my birthday. I was turning 35. So I started my PhD when I was 35. And then I was there for a year. Chungu, my wife, who passed, joined me the following year. The whole year I was there, I was not driving. Chungu came, she was short, I really knew her. She was short, but she was a dynamite, and Palestine knew her from Robben Island. She came and she was working at Marriott. Where's Marriott? What area is Marriott? The Marriott Hotel, what area is it? Yeah, but there's so she had to take a train tube from, we were staying in the last place we stayed at. Yeah, the second one we stayed at, but both of them, she had to take the green line, and then he had to change into another line. And because in South Africa she was driving, she just got tired. No, I can't do this anymore, I need a car. And then we went to Dr. Edgar. Dr. Edgar, this woman, you know how they are, they need a car. And then he was driving a Honda with a stick. And then he said, I have a car. He just bought a new Honda, the nice one. He said, no, I have a car, I can give it to you. We said, for how much? This guy, he said $500. We gave him. He said, when you leave, you'll just give it back to me. So, anyway, I felt so weak that this woman just comes out here, she's driving. Then I started to join her. Rati was 4 or 5. We'll drop Chungu at her work, and I'll drive with Rati to Howard. Rati was at the crèche next to Howard. I'll drop Rati and go to class. Now, the other time I was waiting for Chungu at the Greenbelt station. I just parked and I was waiting, you know, my dreadlocks. This police guy came, he's bigger than me. He comes and then he comes to me and he says, anyway, Professor Edgar is an activist, so when he gave me his car, he said, you must keep this letter in the car on a Howard letterhead. This car belongs to Professor Robert Edgar. I'm a professor at Howard. Here is my numbers. Then this guy comes to me and he says, okay, now this guy had an accent. He had an accent. He says to me, can I see your license, your driver's license? And I take out, we had the, Chungu and I came with the South African International driver's license. I take it out and I show him. He says, but this is not Maryland driver's license. You are in Maryland, you know, must have a Maryland driver's license. So I could see now it's going the other direction. I opened the cabin, I took out the letter from Professor Edgar. Okay, I'm a student at Howard. This card belongs to my professor. I showed her, he read it, and he said, oh, it's fine. Then I told Dr. Edgar, and Dr. Edgar said, you know, Neo, what is it, UW, you don't drive while black. What is the abbreviation? You don't drive when you don't drive when you are black. With me it was wet. Now I'm that and I had dreadlocks. So we used to laugh about it. Maybe he has forgotten. Yeah. So that was the joke that I really, even when I'm driving South Africa, I go home from Bloemfontein, I remember, and I laugh alone. Hey, this old man. So the other thing, these guys must come because I don't want them to miss what Dr. Edgar is going to say. So anyone who wants to talk, you can talk really. It's not, Erin also has got his own stories of Howard. So Howard is a difficult place. We like to say how hard, right? How hard as the hard. It's very hard at Howard, but it's a beautiful space. Erin asked me when she was flying, Neo, what do you want me to bring? I said, if you can go to the Howard shop and get me a Howard t-shirt. She brought 2. What did you buy, Cabo? A hat. And then she brought the Howard, the pencils. And then I asked her, I sent her another message, can you bring me the New York Times and the Washington Post? You know? Because we like reading. I stayed at BoB Edgar. When he wakes up in the morning, you know, he goes down to his kitchen and he'll put a toast of bagels and he sit down, he's got that Washington Post and he read it. So I was not trying to be him, but you know. So Erin brought them. We've been busy, I'm gonna read them because sometimes you get some very nice articles that you can even frame. So I tell my students they ran away, but those who are here, I told them, even when I was doing my SABC interview on my book after our president visited, I said, you know, now that they asked me about the Dubula Ibonu on TV, I said, you know, the freedom songs are so important because even the American president was playing them in the White House, you know. He was playing them in the White House, in the Oval House. That's how powerful they are. But I tell the ladies who were interviewing me on SABC, I said, that interview was important because it was on Africa Day. They interviewed Thabo Mbeki. He explained on the Iguju. Is it Iguju? Yeah, Igu? Yeah, they interviewed Thabo Mbeki. He explained about the song, and then after that, they brought Malema, and after that, they brought me. So that line was so powerful for me, you know? And then, so in my interview, when they asked me about Dubula Ibonu, I said, you know, I was telling my interviewer and people who were watching that I was at Howard, now that the White House in the mix, when I was bored, Erin, of studying all those assignments, we were doing this coursework. It was so, you had to read and you had to write. And sometimes you just don't want to do those things. So I'll walk from Howard towards the White House. You could walk, you know. And then I was not as fit as I am. You know, you just walk and you get tired. You can take a bus and come back. So Ndade Bob's house has got a lot of artifacts. I wish David Copeland was here so that he can talk about the famous artifacts in his house. But when you get into the kitchen, there's a fridge here, and on the wall, there's a famous painting of the famous party called the ANC. So last time when I was there, April, I told him, your party is going to lose these elections. I don't know what he said to me. But that's my favorite painting there, because I don't know how old is it. It's a big one, and it was done by hand. So every time I go to this house, that's the one that captures me. These guys are not here, so if anyone wants to talk, they can talk. But the last thing I'm going to say, so they can play music, I told Ndade Bob to come with these dancing shoes because he must dance. There's music here. The other thing, he bought me, there's I don't know which album of Bob Marley, but he sings with he's got the the three Rasta colors is a jacket, and at the back it's written Bob Marley and the Wailers. And Tateo bought me a jacket like that. It was not leather, but it was suede, right? And then, you know, when you left, you have 2 kids. Some of my family members will say, we thought you were going to do a PhD there, and then you bring another child. So what are you doing? What are you doing there? I'm married, you know. So you have, I mean, just 3 years, you collect so much. You collect so much. That jacket is one of the things that I don't know how I left it in Prof BoB Edgar's basement. I've asked him about it. So next time I go, I'm gonna spend the whole day in the basement and see if I can find it. I know I won't find it, because the other thing we forgot to mention when Nakhla was online is that we call his house Africa House, because everybody stayed there, you know. Howard is a hard place. You do all the application, and then I landed on a Sunday, 24th of my birthday. There's no one to pick me, you know. I mean, I'm new. I'm from Haramkua or from Robben Island West. You come from Robben Island. No one is there to pick me. Bob Edgar is there with Litiani to pick me. I stayed. Her soul rest in peace. The cat. What's the name of the cat? What's the name of your cat? The one that passed? What's the name of that cat that passed away? The cat. The cat. Your cat. Your cat. What was the name of the cat that passed away? The cat. The cat. Meow, meow, meow. Yeah, but this one I got to. So I slept on the top floor, and then it had that door, that window. So it was mango. Yeah. I wish Litiani was here. He was gonna say it immediately, and he was gonna laugh. So I slept there, and you are tired. You're flying from South Africa, you are so tired, and then I was sleeping, and then this cat just came with the window and slept with me. I've never slept with a cat before, but it was it was the cat's bedroom, right? So every time, it's either when I come, it's there, a friendly cat, no scratching. Yeah, so those were some of the nice things we had there. And what's the name of your street? 9 miles or what? But 4 miles. At the corner of his street, he had a minister, secretary, who was in, Bush? Yeah, George Bush W. President. So it was very safe there. Yeah, there's the security there. Yeah. So we knew we were safe there, you know. Oh no, but if it was this president, I was not gonna go. But it was nice. And then weekends, Dingani will come with Ben, and we'll go and play. They had a park down there. We'll just go there and play some soccer, or just stay there. So what I learned from this professor is that if you don't understand your student out of the classroom, even when they have problems, you are not going to be able to help them, you know. Before the GPS, I don't know what year was it, but Bob Edgar says, I want to come and meet your parents. Okay. What for? I didn't say that, but I'm thinking, you are teaching me, you are not teaching my parents. So in Haramkua, he says, direct me. I mean, he's an activist, right? I directed him from Pretoria. This is how you come to my home. We talked on a Friday. Saturday, I saw he parks there, he comes out. Straight to my house, no GPS. Yeah, he met my mother. I don't know if my father was still alive. No, okay. And then he met also my brother, who was a political activist. Silo, who really taught me about Nkwame Nkrumah and all these guys when I was 10. He used to cut newspaper articles and put them in a A3 notebook. And when he put them, he used to talk. He was a history teacher. He used to say, this is Nkwame Nkrumah, you know, this is what he's doing. I knew Robert Mugabe, I knew Petrus Lumumba, I knew Julius Nyerere. Informally. And when you go to school, they were not in my textbook. They were not in my teaching, in my training. So Silo, my brother, I feel he was my first African professor of history. So my brother says it was during W. Bush, I think, presidency. So my brother, you know, because he's an activist, he engages Dr. Edgar, says, but, you know, America, you know, there's all these wars, what. You know, he's trying to critique him as if he's the president, you know. But, you know, he's an activist, he can deal with those things. When I got the Ford Foundations now, when I got the Ford Foundation, I told my family and him that I'm going to America, and he wrote me a long letter. I was on Robben Island, my brother. You can't go to America because you know what they're doing and all of that. You know. Yeah, but Bob Edgar, somebody must talk because I don't have guests anymore, but I want, or we can play music. I want my boss to come so that when Dr. Edgar speaks, because Tando sleeps at my place. If Ntateo can talk before he comes, I'm not going to sleep. Maybe I must sleep here because he's going to tell me I've been running this project, and now when the big man is talking, and you saw Tando is a pastor. Kimurudi. So Ame Akalo, Brown also he went to Howard. You can also tell us about the story of Howard. He also visited at Howard. But Dr. Edgar is saying there are things that you don't talk about at Howard. But Erin's got her own stories of Howard too. You don't? I can't besmirch Howard. You can? I cannot besmirch Howard. No, you can talk the good things about Howard. Okay, one of the things that motivated me when we were thinking of doing this conference, we kept the secret from Bob for the whole year. So Nakhla mentioned this thing in April last year. April until he came, he was here in January. Me and Noor, we met him. We met him on a Sunday, invited us for lunch with other people. We ate, and then when he left, we said, Dr. Edgar, tomorrow we're going to come. We want to meet you. We have a project we want to discuss with you. He said, 9 o'clock we came. 9 o'clock we went, and we sat down with him, and we told him, look, the whole year we've been planning this conference on your name. We didn't want to tell you because if we tell you, you might say it's not important. He looked at us, you know, he's got that notice laughter. And he said, wow, I didn't think you guys you can keep a secret for everyone. Even in America, Nakhla, all of them, no one said Ben. They were seeing him, Dingani, no one said anything to him. But we were planning on this thing. And then after he accepted, he said to us, he didn't think his work is that important. That was so moving, you know. And then we knew that we need to do this project. But on Wednesday, are you filming me? Am I on? Okay. I'm not going to mention the name because of that. On Wednesday, so every time we thought we are on top of this project, but on Wednesday, there is an important person I contacted. I thought you could, so we have a bill for filming, we have a bill for lunch, for food, and then we had the bill for tea and the morning stuff. So we decided this one we're going to do it on our own in-house so that we can reduce the cost. we bought, they went to Macro to buy stuff. And then I brought those scones from Midrand. And I think we've done a good job with that. Except tomorrow. Tomorrow maybe we're gonna need to have something to, but everything is still there, milk and all of that. But on Wednesday, when I contacted the person, I thought he was gonna take one bill off. And then when they didn't, I was so deflated. What are we gonna do? We've called all these people. And that guy, Tando, he says, now you can't call people and not give them food. What kind of a thing is that? Because we were saying, me and Erin, and we were saying, no, we're just going to do this dinner. We're not going to give them lunch, you know. The sister there, that brother there, he was my chef when I came to Bloemfontein. I spent the whole month in Koffsies. He was a chef there. So I saw him here and I'm like, hey, Ntate, I swear no fepa mola unketsa or kiveli 6-pack. I don't know, so Ausuha is the chef. He had billed us 33K, and then I called her because we speak with Rabatswana, you know. I called her and I spoke in Setswana, Kaisari, you know. If you can take this bill down to 30 at least, you know. After she agreed, I thought, can I ask her again to take it to 20? And I felt, no, she might. So we got those discounts. And then Thursday when I woke up, because Nelson Mandela, I like what Kolela said, that Nelson Mandela, he doesn't buy that thing of he's a sellout. How can you spend 27 years? And I'm in that camp too. So Nelson Mandela likes those things to say, a leader sometimes must take a decision alone. Where's Tando? So when I slept Wednesday, I didn't tell Tando, I just went to my bedroom and I slept. When I woke up in the morning, I went to my laptop. America was not asleep yet, I think, right? Like 3:30 in the morning, because I couldn't sleep. I went on my laptop and I said, I'm just going to ask donations now. We need to have donations. I look at 500 rand, it's $29. I put it down and I say, if we can get, we have these bills, if we can get each and every one of you donate what you can afford. It was amazing. It was amazing, right? It was amazing. It was amazing. So all in all, how much did we raise? Yeah, how much is it if we convert it to? It's 40. Under 40. So on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 35. Yeah. We had raised that. It was amazing. And at Bob, there's someone who donated $500, and then I'm gonna say he, she, and X because I don't want him to guess who that person is. And then that person said to me, Neo, please, I don't want to be mentioned. She said, maybe you have forgotten me. She told me who she is, and I said, because now you know who she is. She said, when they called me Dr. Ramu for the first time, Dr. Edgar brought me to her house to have dinner, and I told her, anyone I met after I became Dr. Ramu, I cannot forget. So she's one of those. $500, it's about 8,000. About that, yeah. The other thing that motivated that, when I was at Rice University last April, March, I started there, and then I make this joke with Nana Osei Opara, who invited me. He said, "No, you've got all this melon money. You can't just go to Howard. You know Howard. Try and use it and see other places." And says, "You must come to Houston. You must come to Rice University and see it." I told Nana the only reason I'm coming to Houston, Texas, I wanna go and see the famous Dallas movie. You know, the Dallas. Okay, my mother is late, but my mother loved Dallas. She loved all those actors. So we were watching it. And then I told Nana, the only reason I'm coming to Texas, I want to go and see the Dallas. And then Nana, because he's smart, he says, "Okay, now I will take you there." I landed in Houston, and then after he put my suitcases in his car, before he drives, he looked at me and he laughs. He said, "Now, Texas is very far. Where the Dallas is very far. So I just wanted you to come here, you know." Yeah. We were waiting for you to come because you are my boss. You see now. You see, he's saying I must stop, but he was not here. So Ntate Bob, this is your time. I was just becoming a comedian like Trevor Noah so that my boss can come and everybody's here now. This is your time. We can't tell you what to say, right? Because
Good. Well, I'll say something about Chungu. She knew how to deal with me, and that was through food. She was a great cook, and whenever she needed something from me, she would prepare a great meal, and so I remember her very fondly, and of course I love Chaba as well. You know, I have a lot of thank yous for this conference. First, to the University of Free State for hosting the conference. That's a big commitment. To the History Department at UFS for taking care of a lot of the organizing for the conference. Tondo, our leader, has been especially critical for putting this conference together. And I know from organizing conferences in the United States and at Howard University, it's difficult. So I really appreciate all the effort that people have made to make this conference a success. It's also been very nice at this conference to see a lot of old friends. I'm looking at Chris Saunders at the table back there. He's one of the first people I met when I first came to South Africa in 1973. And we've collaborated as historians and friends ever since. And I think of people like Luyanda Kamsumza, who we met in Lesotho through APM-DA. And he's been a great friend and also a collaborator on our projects on Anton Lembede and APM-DA, but he's also helped me in the Eastern Cape with various projects. So we've had a lot of fascinating experiences together, some of them quite dangerous during the early 1990s. Maybe we'll tell those stories one time. But and to see people who have come from Lesotho, Sahwai Santo, Matthews Posa, who I've known for many, many years. I can go on with the David Copeland. I can go on with the number of people who have been able to come to this conference, and also people who have associated with me at various universities. Of course, Howard University, the National University of Lesotho. I've taught at the University of Cape Town and the University of Western Cape. So I've had a lot of experience with various universities in Southern Africa. When I first came out to South Africa in 1973, I was able to spend a year here, and I saw the worst of apartheid, but I also saw the best of humanity and people who were willing to assist me during that time period. And over the decades, I've been very fortunate to start some very important research projects that you all have been talking about the past 2 days. And something that really has touched me in this conference is that many of you have been speaking about how my work has inspired you or stimulated you or opened up areas of inquiry. And so I'm very thankful for that as I look back on my career, it's not over yet, but as I look back on my career, I can look at people around the room and I can see that I've had some impact on people, and that really is important to me. I think the important thing about this conference is that we've talked about a number of different areas of research. And as I look around the room, I see people I've known in the past, but people that I've met through this conference. And so I suspect I'm going to get a lot of emails saying, what can you help me with? How can you advise me on this and that? So I do respond to emails. I will admit to that. But for me, the important thing about this conference is that all of you are meeting together and talking to one another. One of the things I've tried to do over the decades is to collaborate with other people. It could be other historians, it could be groups of people, it could be individuals, but in all cases I've tried to collaborate, and I find that working with other people actually provides a basis for a lot better scholarship. So in all my ventures, I've tried to either have collaborators or to share information. So I hope that's one of the takeaways from this conference, that we're all working together. We have, we do things individually. I'm not going to deny that, but we're all have the same objective, and that is to open up new areas of research and scholarship, and the best way to do that is as a community. So I hope many of you are meeting each other maybe for the first time, but it's creating that kind of community. For me, that's the most important thing about this conference, and others that you will be participating in. I'm looking back at the table there of I'm thinking about Brown Mava, who has been somebody I've worked with since the mid-1990s. We met at Fort Hare originally, I think, but I came on campus and right away I knew I had somebody I wanted to stay in touch with, and we have for the past 30 years, I think, now, and he's been helping me more recently with projects. So it's very important to acknowledge and recognize all of the people here and the projects that you're getting involved with, whether it be biographies or religious movements or community organizations. One can go on and on with all of the things that I've been involved with, but you all are involved with as well. So I hope in the future that we'll have an opportunity to meet again, and maybe as individuals, but I just want to say, you know, how important this experience has been for me, and I hope it's also been valuable to all of you. Finally, thanks to this guy, Neo has been really important in my life. Sometimes he drives me crazy, but he's been very enjoyable. And I'm just thankful to him and his team for organizing this conference. Again, these things happen. So every university I've been at, we've had student protests. So I know that's part of the landscape, but it's amazing what Neo and Tondo and others have done to pull this together. So thank you all. We have some more sessions tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. Maybe we'll have a chance to talk about doing history in the afternoon. But thank you all.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Colleagues and friends, you've heard from the man of the hour, and at this time, if there is no other announcements, it's been a long day, and I'm sure we are hungry. Can I take the honors of saying this program for this evening is closed, then we can have dinner and have a chat and enjoy, and then so we can go home. Thank you very much for keeping up with us.